Welcome to Nottingham, and not just the city of Robin Hood, but one with a massive sporting tradition too, with the oldest professional football club in the world in Notts County, and of course, Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest, one of England's most successful football teams of all time. But the next sporting event sees thousands of Rovers on an annual romp across the city. It's the men's health survival of the fittest, powered by Land Rover.
Oh, let's have it.
The route here today is about 10,000 metres long, but it's not the sort of 10k that Mighty Mo's going to be breaking any records on. There's too many breaks in the stride and there's 10 obstacles to overcome. Let's join Rob Walker for a walkthrough.
Well, this survival of the fittest is certainly an interesting task, whether you're going round on your own or whether you're running alongside a couple of friends. Well, it's a challenge of a very different nature. Nottingham is home to the National Water Sports Centre, and there'll be plenty of time for these guys to get acquainted with the River Trent as well as the City Ground. As Dean said, 10k, 10 obstacles. It starts off with the hay bales and the parkour zone. Then they head into the timed assault course before quite a long run back to obstacle number 5. They'll be feeling a little bit wet at this stage as well. And then the K's keep rolling as they head back towards Nottingham Forest's City Ground for an agonising step climb before the Wall of Fame and the finish line. Well, it's an entire body experience, this one. It's not just about running as fast as you can. Everything's got to be properly warmed up. They go in waves of 250, and the first out there on the course are almost ready.
There's almost 5,000 merry men and Maid Marians here to take on the course by the Trent today. But before they hit the mud and the mayhem, let's meet a few. Have you done much training for this?
Yeah, well, we've done every one now. This is our 4th one. We're doing about 3 marathons a week, so we've worked hard for it. Course record today.
Well, plenty of preparation, but I'm not sure everyone else has been doing 3 marathons a week for this event, which started life 4 years ago.
What's your expectations for today?
Get wet. It's going to be a challenge. I don't think any of us trained for it at all. I think it's a bit tougher than we think.
Survival of the fittest for a reason. Come on.
I done it 4 years ago, mate, so don't worry. I know you're going to walk it.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk it.
Well, one of the race favourites certainly won't be walking. Alistair Johnson has 20 years' experience in triathlon and finished in the top 10 of the Robin Hood Half Marathon last month.
So, Alistair, you're one of the favourites. You're going to be going on in literally a couple of minutes. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah, I just had a decent warm-up, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, should be good.
Well, plenty of confidence from Johnson, and warming up is the operative word. It's very cold here. You can see him shivering, and over his right-hand shoulder is Greg Macdonald, one of the RAF's hard men and the winner of the Stockton Rat Race.
I absolutely love these events, you know. It's got everything, not only running, but all the obstacles and water as well, which I'm sure I'll regret as soon as I get in it this morning. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, the training's over for those that did any, and for those that didn't, it's time to feel the burn and wish they had. Let's join Rob for the start.
Well, there's a man who knows what it takes. Jonathan Proctor's doing all 4 of these National Series events, raising money for Michael's Hospice. We can expect a fast start from this guy, James Wilson, an international triathlete. He was 5th in his wave last year. But reputations count for nothing. It's cold and it's fast and it's frantic. They head towards the hay bales, and 1 or 2 of these athletes told us before the race that it's absolutely essential to get onto this first obstacle as quickly as possible. Proctor on the near side with a great technique. There's Ross Macdonald. He won the Cardiff Survival of the Fittest a few weeks ago, successfully negotiating the obstacle there. Wilson on the left, Proctor just dropping behind. Ross Macdonald and the tiny figure of Gareth Petts in there. Here's Alistair Johnson, not quite so quickly away on the hay bales. He'll need to catch up, and one of the men's health team there just getting out onto the course. So they're heading towards the parkour zone. That will be the first point on the course where their rhythm is interrupted. Let's take a look at the leaders. Ross Macdonald there, 4.232. James Wilson on the right-hand side. Broke his PB recently over 10k. And I've just spotted Alistair Johnson. There he is. He's managed to catch up. But how much has that extra use of energy taken out of him? Certainly James Wilson on the right-hand side is looking very comfortable.
I was in wave 1 last year, and I got caught up a little bit on the hay bales and maybe in the first K. So if I got a bit harder and try and get up with the front runners and then push on from there.
Well, you can certainly see how much damage the early injection of pace has made at the front. Meanwhile, they're still getting over the hay bales, and a certain Mr. Dean Macy will be an interested observer. 2 World Championship medals in the decathlon, and his wife Lisa might take a little while longer than Dino in his prime to get round, but I'm sure he'll be there to give her a kiss and a hug at the end. Meanwhile, back with the leaders, still Ross Macdonald pushing the pace. Johnson just on the left of screen, and James Wilson, who we've just heard from, on the right. Wilson just had a little look over his shoulder there, checking out the opposition, because he knows Johnson is the fastest in the field on paper.
I come from a triathlon background, really. I started off probably 20 years ago. I've raced for Great Britain as a junior, and from the last 20 years I've competed on and off, to pretty high standards. This is like literally on my doorstep. I'm literally 2 minutes away the other side of the river, so I do a lot of my training around this area, so I know the area really well.
Well, Johnson putting that local knowledge to good use. He now decides to set the pace. Remember, he started a little slowly over the hay bales, but he's worked his way back up into this lead trio. And you can see how much damage the injection of pace has done. Greg Macdonald in 5th there. That is the gap up to the lead 3, and it's about some 80 or 90 metres as James Wilson just begins to make his presence felt alongside Johnson. Meanwhile, back at the start, the preparations continue and the spirits are good.
My terrified face. Your face paint's awesome, but your tights, I think, are the best bit I've seen.
Well, you got to stand out somehow, and everyone here is just wearing the same gear, so we figured, why not go loud and see what happens.
Guys, I'm not sure when to start. What's happening?
We just thought we'd come along, get involved, get in some Tiger suits, probably win the race,
So give us a growl, give us a grr. Grr.
Always great to see a few guys turning up in fancy dress. Yet another wave of 250 are on their way, and you can see how important the technique is. A long way to go for these guys. The challenge is just beginning. Meanwhile, back with wave 1. Still Johnson on the near side and Wilson on the far side setting the pace, and tucked in nicely in 3rd place is Ross Macdonald, who'll be very confident after winning the Cardiff event recently.
I think a lot of the really fast runners over a 10k distance maybe struggle with the obstacles and then getting going again after each obstacle, and I seem to be able to hold my stride quite well and just keep going again. You come to some obstacles and haven't got a clue what to expect, or you weren't expecting that at all. So you've really just got to open mind when you come to the obstacle and attack it. No technique, really.
Well, here we are at obstacle number 2. It's the parkour zone after 2k of running. A sport begun by Sebastian Foucan. Who could forget that amazing chase scene with him and Daniel Craig in Casino Royale? It's up, it's under, tiring, and it interrupts the rhythm. You can see Johnson there really having to work to get over that barrier. And that's why this event is so intriguing, because it isn't just about how quick you are. Macdonald there, 4.231. He's moved up from 5th to 4th, and he loves the obstacles. So can he begin to close the gap? The RAF man says it's a big strength of his on this course, and look at the way he's eating up the ground there. He's certainly leaving 5th and 6th a little way behind. So the race just beginning to get intriguing here. Ross Macdonald there, now in the lead with Johnson and Wilson in 2nd and 3rd. But the big question is, where is Greg Macdonald? And the answer is, he's coming.
Being in the Air Force, I tend to approach all the obstacles, either I'll do really well or break a limb in the process. I just go at it full speed and just worry about the consequences afterwards.
Well, Macdonald's strategy with the obstacles is clearly working. He's got the leaders in sight. Meanwhile, further back down the course, hundreds more are just getting to grips with the challenge ahead.
I've just done the first K. First thing I've done like this. I'm going to do it.
Oh, good to see the Tigers aren't the only ones in fancy dress, and a thumbs up as well. And how about this for a winning technique? Usain Bolt, eat your heart out. Well, the wet conditions just starting to make the parkour zone a little tricky. Greg Macdonald working his way up to the lead trio. up onto the shoulder, and a quick glance from Ross Macdonald, the namesake, no relation.
Come on, you horrible little man! You grab a sandbag, you run round and
Oh, great encouragement there as the guys enter the Tissot assault course. This is a race within a race. This section will be timed, and there will be a winner as they dump the sandbags and head towards the scramble nets. Be interesting to see the technique here. Wilson, with the windmill use of the arms, has taken the lead, and look at Greg Macdonald into third place. Well, he's living proof that it doesn't matter if it's not pretty as long as you get the job done, and that's certainly a tactic Wilson subscribes to.
I don't think there's any technique. I think it's just give it as much as you can over and as fast as you can. I'm looking forward to I believe there's a timed event halfway through, so I'm looking forward to that one, just to give it as, give it as hard as I can.
Well, this is excellent stuff by Wilson, and I just wonder whether Alistair Johnson is starting to look a little bit tired. A grimace here on the monkey bars. If they fall off, they have to go again.
Under the lawn. Well done.
Now it's a bit of up and under. Every muscle being used on this course. A timely reminder that it isn't just about how fast you are, it's about your strength as well, as Greg Macdonald gets onto the monkey bars. Alistair Johnson is struggling a little bit, and he's got to go back. The course director, Gary Valance, quite correctly telling Greg, if you fall down before you get to the line, you've got to go again. Ross Macdonald falling foul. Greg gets over this time. And the Cardiff champion is making hard work of this. He's going to have to do something really special if he's going to get win number 2. Johnson is definitely looking tired in second place, and he'll know that Greg Macdonald is fast catching him up. You can see there, James Wilson is absolutely soaked. Everything's going to be starting to feel just a little bit heavy. And Greg Macdonald now has gone past Johnson into second place, getting tangled up once again. It's an unorthodox technique, but he's got such strength and determination. I think the cameraman needs to dry out a little bit as well, as Greg Macdonald goes into second place and Johnson now in third. Meanwhile, this is definitely James Wilson's big, bold move for victory. And if his feet were dry in any way after the assault course, they're not now. He's got his life jacket on and he's getting a taste of the Trent. Interesting technique here by Wilson. He's deciding to run as far as he can into the water. You can see Johnson and Macdonald behind him. Meanwhile, they're still pouring over the netting, and some haven't quite got the technique. A little bit of rough and tumble here, but it really is being done with a great spirit, this. Some of them just make it look so easy. Wasn't exactly the cat's whiskers for those boys, but they're still smiling.
Yeah!
And good to see those bow ties are still firmly in place. I think some of these guys actually like getting a bit dirty.
In 3 words, try to describe what you've just been through.
Absolutely flipping ridiculous.
It's cold, but it's brilliant. It's like being back at school.
Mate, if you think this is cold, you've still got the lake to challenge.
See, now that'd be fantastic.
At least you can wash your teeth though, eh?
Great encouragement for all these competitors.
How was that?
I'm going to come back to it again later.
Love it.
Well, brilliant enthusiasm among the masses. Meanwhile, back with the leaders at the next obstacle. They've managed to catch James Wilson. He's gone for the underneath technique there. So Wilson now being joined by Greg Macdonald. These two pretty much side by side here.
Well done. Excellent.
Alistair Johnson is still in there as well. He was definitely looking tired at the last obstacle. And Greg Macdonald just seems as though he's trying to seize the initiative here. Wilson tried to climb all the way up without using the rope. Far trickier than it looks, this obstacle. And look at Johnson. Those legs are heavy. It's a good performance, but he really needs to dig deep. And Ross Macdonald, the Cardiff champion, is now some way adrift of the lead trio. and he needs to hang on through a little bit of a bad patch. But after pacing himself really well in the early stages, Greg Macdonald is now into the lead, and he's looking pretty good here with just 4 obstacles to go. He's got the determination, and he's certainly in control here.
Whichever city the survival series is in, there's always one thing there. It's the Wall of Fame. It's the last obstacle on the course, and it's where it can all be won or lost. Who will be the first to haul themselves over it and race through the finish line? Well, join us after the break to find out. Welcome back to the Men's Health Survival of the Fittest, powered by Land Rover. Well, it's all mud, sweat and cheers here in Nottingham as the race unfolds, but if you're at the back of the pack, there is still plenty to run for.
Loving it every second. Come on.
Certainly plenty of enthusiasm here. This 10K with a difference.
I'm freezing.
10 obstacles, and it's getting pretty muddy and pretty slippery for some of these guys. But it really is being tackled in a great spirit. The Asics inflatables. Doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you're smiling.
Oh, thank you for that.
Probably one of the easier obstacles. And there are a few to watch out for in fancy dress, and the bow ties are still very much in place. The water slide gives a couple of seconds relief to the legs before a slightly icy dip.
It's going to be too cold.
Well, it doesn't matter how cold it is, as long as you get a helping hand.
Is that as cold as it looks?
Oh, horrific. It's awful. Dived in.
Is it that cold?
It's freezing.
Good man. Carry on. Is it as cold as it looks?
That's monkeys, mate.
Good lad. Warm up.
Well, despite the mud, the cold and the water, you can still look good on this course.
There she was, such a beautiful girl, lying out by the pool, straight rock my world. So I stepped to her, they got next to her.
How was it?
Evil, it's so freezing and it's so cold.
Evil is a bit of a strong word, don't you think?
It's so cold. That slide is fun though, I want to do it again.
The lead three still together as they enter the city ground for the stadium climb. Greg Macdonald, James Wilson in second, and Alistair Johnson has gone through that bad patch and he's still there in third place. Well, this stadium has seen so many great moments over the years, but these guys won't be interested in the football history. They want to get through here and on to the finish as quickly as possible. Just 2 challenges left, the Land Rover obstacle, and then hold your breath for the Wall of Fame. 8 feet of pain, and the race can all change on that 10th and final challenge. Well, interesting to see Greg Macdonald now in third place, just with a metre or 2 between him and Alistair Johnson, who's done well to get back into second. But Wilson's gritting his teeth and maybe thinking about that final challenge to come.
I struggle on the Wall of Fame. There's a technique and I haven't mastered it yet. You see some lads fly over. I know the first 3 last year, there was no bother, but I do struggle just for the technique on that one.
Wilson's really beginning to hurt here, trying to give himself every possible chance at that last obstacle, moving ahead of the other 2, but they can't be ruled out.
Last year, there was some chap giving everybody a bunk over, and I was just like, stay there, you know, and he gave me a lift over. I thanked him and then carried on to the finish. If I'm in that situation where I'm on my own, then it's brute force and ignorance, really. Anything to get over.
So the Land Rover obstacle, Macdonald and Johnson in second and third. Wilson, the lactic in those legs is really kicking in, the grimace. He's had a look over his shoulder. He knows that the gap isn't that big. And here's where the race will be decided. Any one of these 3 guys could win this because it's so easy to get this wrong. Wilson on the near side, Greg Macdonald in the middle, Alistair Johnson on the right-hand side. He's got his hand at the top, he's got his left foot up. Wilson just momentarily got both his feet up and he's now slipped back. And look at Greg Macdonald, the determination. He said it was about brute force and ignorance, and has he done enough? So close. I don't know where he found that strength from. Johnson's given up on his chances of victory because the win is going to go to the man who said it was all about the obstacles. Greg Macdonald has taken the win here in Nottingham in fine, fine style. We said it could all change at the Wall of Fame, and that was exactly the case. Agony for Johnson, but the win goes to Greg.
That separates the men from the boys, and today, my friend, you are the man.
Thank you very much. I don't know what to say, really. They got the first leg up, and I thought, well, that's it, I'm in third. And then I saw them both kind of fall down. I thought, now's my chance. You know, I feel so far privileged to have grabbed it on this, the closest finish that we'll probably see in many years.
Two really decent athletes, Alistair Johnson and James Wilson, but they had to help each other to finish.
And that last corner, I thought I had it. I got 10 metres on him. I thought, just get over that wall and that's it. Just had no energy left at all.
As soon as I got to the wall, my strength was drained away, and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get up here. And my man here put it together and pulled each other over. Yeah, it was brilliant, really good race.
Well, whilst the first wave have finished, the others keep on coming. All the water, all the mud, all the obstacles and the challenges still to come. And what a way this is to finish. Good performance by Robin Hackwell, the first female to finish on the course. She looks in fairly good shape there. Meanwhile, this 10th and final obstacle is undoing so many of these competitors. But it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get that helping hand.
My friend, hands up in the air. Are you pleased with your efforts?
Yeah, good, yeah. Just shattered. But no, I did it, so yeah, well chuffed.
Great support and great spirit here. And here comes a finisher that Mr. Macy will be interested in. Wife Lisa, good performance, just inside an hour and a half. Here's a man who's given it absolutely everything to get across the line.
Mate, I've seen some faces with pain written all over them over that wall, but yours was absolutely up there amongst the best.
You'd have had it all the way round as well if you'd have followed me. Oh, that's a killer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was it as awesome as it looks?
It was hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah, but excellent fun. Recommend it. That was amazing.
Well, this survival of the fittest series continues to grow from strength to strength. We've seen races in Cardiff and in Edinburgh. We're in our 4th year of this event in Nottingham, and there's one more to come, and it should be quite a climax.
Well, that's it from Nottingham, and as the last few make their way over the Wall of Fame, it's time for the Survival Series to swap the Trent for the Thames and make its debut in the capital. There'll be many, many more athletes ready to batter the streets of Battersea then, so do join us next time in London.